there was a lot of struggle that went into this, right? So that's where the miracles started happening, where I just prayed to God. I was like, what can I do different? Why did you bring me to California, pretty much, if this is what I'm living through? I was born and raised in Hobbs, New Mexico. If anyone knows, back when I was there, the population was probably like 10,000. So there was really nothing to do there, Ryan, but get into trouble. And I mean, school was there, but there was only one high school, one movie theater, and there was a lot of farming. So there was two things: either you do crops or you work in the oil fields.
Right.
So I knew there was no future there. And I remember going home and doing my algebra, doing my homework. And after school, I would go and start drinking with my friends. And then I'd go home and try to do my homework. And I know for a fact that God put it in me because I was heading for destruction, man. So I prayed about it. I said, I need to get out of here. I need to, find a future, do something for myself, for my family, and just get out of here, because I was getting into fights and doing things that I wasn't supposed to do, and I didn't want to let my mom know, and everything. They worked so hard to come to the United States for their dreams to give us a better life. So I called up my brother one day, and he was already in California. I was like, hey, I got to shoot over there. I'll finish school. I'll do whatever. I need to get out of this town. So long story short, I remember working at harvesting cucumbers and buying myself a one-way ticket on the Greyhound. And I showed up just with a backpack, and that was it.
By yourself?
By
How
myself.
old were you?
It so happened it was on my birthday, bro. So I had turned 17. I was 17 that day that I left home. I waved at my mom at the bus stop. It was definitely one of the moments I will never forget, seeing her face and getting emotional. But I knew I had to do it because my mom didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't want to disappoint her. So I'd rather get out of town and go find a future for myself.
Yeah. So you went off to California.
Went to California, brother.
Searching for gold.
Searching for gold. got a high school diploma, thank God, just by the skin of my teeth. And I was going to go into law enforcement. So I had a small degree on law enforcement, right? So I was going to go do that, live the American dream, get good benefits, get, a good job, yada, yada. So, but my DNA was always into sales, brother. So I needed to survive. So I was on my own right out of high school, and I went to the unemployment office in Pomona off of Holt Street, right? And back in the days in 1994, it wasn't like the web or you can go to job.com. We needed these advertisements, right? So I went there, and there was a bulletin, and the bulletin had a couple of jobs that were being offered. One of them, it was a lot of fast food, right? One of them said telemarketing for a bank, and I'm like, that sounds pretty something up my alley, something I would like to do.
Yeah.
So grabbed that, talked to the little counselor there, and she said, yeah, they're hiring. Went for an interview. So it was telemarketing to set appointments for the sales reps to go out there and close the deals.
For payment processing.
For payment processing.
Got
so
it.
I've been in the same industry ever since.
Right.
And
that was at 17.
Yes.
Okay.
So actually by that time I was already 18.
Okay.
By that time. So what happened, Ryan, is I went ahead and took the job, did telemarketing. At that time, I was hourly, so I was $4.25 an hour. So then a couple of weeks later, I got promoted to manager, telemarketing manager. So there's about 10 guys that I would oversee. So here's the breakthrough, though. The breakthrough and where God changed my life was that I made an appointment for a gentleman in Simi Island, California, that owned a glass shop, and he actually didn't speak well English. So Spanish was he felt more comfortable. So then I go to my manager, the appointment's set, and my manager's like, listen, our corporate office is in Louisville, Kentucky. There's no bilingual agents, so decline the appointment. I'm like, I'm not going to decline the appointment. So I kind of just said, you know what, I'll take it on. I'll do it. He said, no, you know what, you open the office up, you give all the telemarketing leads, you close the office, and you're in charge of this. You're too valuable for me. So then that's when I resigned and said, you know what, I'm going to go into sales. So I sold that deal, made $1,000 that day, and never looked back. That's where my sales career started.
Got it. So then how did it progress from there?
Ryan, so check this out. So being blessed, I started doing very well in 1994. I was in sales only. And this is where I had a life-changing moment again. I was doing very well. 10 months into it, I got in a car accident. I got rear-ended. And it just totaled the car. It threw my back out. So I had, on commission only at that time, so you can't go to unemployment or get assistance, and I couldn't call them back home. I couldn't call my dad or my mom. I was like, hey, send me some money. So I was pretty much on my own at that time, and I was just an 18-year-old kid at that time. So what happened was I struggled. So I couldn't afford to pay my light bill. So I would borrow, get an extension cord and run it across my neighbor, and they were kind enough to give me electricity. I couldn't afford to have the trash guy come and pick up my trash. Couldn't pay my bill. What I did is for the beginning, I put it to my neighbor, and the trash guy picked up on that. It's like, okay, this guy's putting his trash cans at the neighbor. Scratch that. We're not going to pick him up. So they would not pick him up, right? Long story short, I also, another thing is I couldn't take warm showers because I wouldn't pay the gas bill. So it was cold showers in the morning. So listen, I mean, I would go to fast food places, Ryan, and take their toilet paper. I couldn't afford it. I would take their napkins. I was struggling pretty bad being on commission only because I needed to get to my clients in order to sell credit card services. So I would take a bike, and back in those days in '94, they didn't have electric bikes, bro. So it was pedaling.
Yeah.
So I'd pedal. I'd take the MetroLink. I would borrow cars, and it was a big struggle. And I prayed to God, and God gave me enough courage and wisdom to understand and just to stay focused. And I remember buying a little car and getting better. So once I bought a little CRX, silver CRX that just got me from point A to point Z. It was a used one, but I loved it. It was my Rolls Royce at the time. That thing just got me to the next level, and I started making sales again. So I was a top agent in '94. At the end of the day, how that happened, it's only a miracle, man, how I was able to get recognized by the company and start doing well again. So then started paying my bills, started making money. I was a top sales in '95, '96, and the quarter '97 is when the company promoted me to territory manager in '97. So fast forward that, I got promoted to district manager, regional manager, and then after being there 10 years, Ryan, they asked me to go to Louisville, Kentucky. That's where the corporate office was, and to become vice president of sales. That's when I decided, you know what, after being here 10 years, I've learned a lot. I've done well. I have 7 different offices, over 100 employees. I'm like, you know what, my DNA has always been what my mom had taught me, and have been blessed to go ahead and be an entrepreneur. And I've always had it in the back of my mind anyway. Yeah. So I turned in the keys, resigned from one day to the next, Ryan. I didn't have an office. I didn't have employees. I didn't have nothing. So I just walked out, and then it just gradually started growing from there. Like I would have my meetings at Mimi's Cafe or Carol's off the freeway. I would meet them, give them the machines. And then finally, 3 months after that, I opened an office, and the rest is history, man.